Hi everyone, it's time for Fun with F Words. This is an introduction to swinging, the lifestyle, ethical non-monogamy, and the kink communities. And I'm going to introduce you to terms like flirty friends, Frenchy friends, fondling friends, free loving friends, and flogging friends. So, I'm Angela Skirtu. I'm a licensed marriage and sex therapist, and I'm an ASEX certified sex therapist. I own the show Open Bedroom Door Show, Real Talk for Real Relationships. It airs every Thursday at 9 p.m. on YouTube and E360 TV. And also, you can find me at www.openbedroomdoors.com and find out about all my products and services, including my book, From F-No to F-Yes Sex. All right, let's get right into these flirty terms. So, I use these terms when I'm teaching people about the lifestyle and ethical non-monogamy and the kink community to learn a little bit about what that looks like and how to figure out where you land personally. So let's get right in. The first term I like to introduce people to is friendlies. Now, friendlies are simply people who are friends like anyone else. This is a misunderstanding that people have, that when you go to different events that everybody's just ready to have sex with you, and that's not true. Everyone's people at these events, and some of them may be interested in having a relationship and some may not. And so when you first enter a room, assume the people around you are just friendlies. Kind of like, the video game term where it's like, these are people who are around living their lives. They may be interested, they may be not, but treat people like they're friendly. They're open-minded to getting to know you, but they are still people, and just because they're at an event doesn't mean they're ready to have sex with anyone at whim. You still have to get to know each other. The next term I call is flirty friends, and flirty friends is essentially where you are, you're kind of flirty. Like, these are couples who are kind of on the fringe. They like to say silly, sexy things. They play with innuendo. They flirt, right? So there might be affection shared here and there. They might like to come up behind you and hold your back and just get a little close, and that's a flirty friend. Then there's another type of friend called the Frenchy friend. And these are people who just like to French kiss. Like, that's it. They make out. That's their only goal for the night or ever. I know people who stay in the Frenchy friends category. Like, they're in time with their entire time playing. Sometimes, for example, girls like to do a little Frenchy friend action, where it's like, I'm not anything more than a Frenchy friend, but, every now and then when we get a little frisky, we have a little fun and we French. So there's Frenchy friends. There's fondling friends. Now, fondling friends in the lifestyle community, I would consider soft swappers. And fondling friends are people who, a soft swap is essentially someone who doesn't go all the way. They, like, all the way, hold on. Penetrative sex in a heteronormative relationship. That would be all the way in terms of, like, Hollywood and how they would say it. But, like, a fondling friend or a soft swapper may still go down on you, engage in oral sex, which is still sex. I do want you all to hear that. Oral sex is still sex. They may be interested in different finger play, different kind of, just getting frisky in different ways, right? So all of these friends are different kinds of frisky friends, by the way. I would put that under the frisky friend umbrella. And then beyond that, there's fucking friends. And fucking friends are your full swappers in the lifestyle. And these are people who genuinely enjoy having full swap situations with others, meaning they will do penetrative sex. Usually there are discussions around how to use condoms with any of these sexual experiences and STD checks. If you're not having those conversations, please do. Like, you are welcome to talk about this with any of your friends who you're getting frisky with. Then there's another category of friends called the freeballing friends. And freeballing friends are nudists. And here's the kicker. Not all nudists are in the lifestyle, and not all lifestylers are in the nudist world. So you can be one and not the other, or you can be both. So freeballing friends are people who like to go to nudist communities, like to be naked around other friends. They're the first ones to pull their clothes off at an event. And that's literally all they want to do, is be naked in some way, shape, or form, or somewhat naked, because it can be, some of these places are clothing optional places. So it may be like topless or bottomless. You can have a bottomless party. You can do whatever you want. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to tell you what the different things are in case you're interested in going to one of these places. So that's your freeballing friends. Then you've got figuring it out friends. So figuring it out friends, a lot of people, here's the funny thing. So you may have been a full swapper or a fucking friend, and like then you're figuring it out for a while. So you can be a figuring it out friend anytime. Here's the deal. Sometimes as people are getting into these worlds and trying different things and exploring different things, they don't know what they want, or they try something and they're like, ugh, I don't know how I felt about that. And they take a step back. That's figuring it out, friends. And it's totally cool, totally normal to take your time and figure out where you land. And I want to give a space for figuring out friends even in the same night. So for example, you could go in thinking you want to do, for example, a fucking friend situation or a Frenchy friend situation. And then that night, just things kind of rub you wrong and you're not feeling that great. So you can take a step back and figure it out. You never have to like follow through with anything if you don't want to. Like all of these terms are about teaching you that you're allowed to have boundaries for yourself, even in one night, even if you've already done all of the friendship styles, at any point, you're allowed to have boundaries. So beyond that, we have flogging friends or fetish friends. I like using both because like, all right, flogging friends are people in the kink community and fetish friends are people in the kink community, but not all fetishers like flogging. But I just thought it was so funny to say flogging friends. So floggers are people who do like to get flogged with like an actual flogger. But I think a broader term that's probably better for the kink community is fetish friends. People who like different kinky wild things. They like just that little like adventure, wildness to sex. And so there's a variety, honestly, a variety of ways that you can be in the kink world and be a fetish friend. In fact, if you're interested in like adding some F words below, please submit comments of different kinds of like F words, like flogging friends, punishment friends, because you like to be punished. You're such a bad boy, aren't you? There's so many different fun ways to use the F words to like explain different friendship styles. So if you come up with others, please add them. I want to hear all your fun F words. I'm going to add it to my next book. Then there's this other set of situations, right? Fly on the wall friends. So fly on the wall friends, I have clients that are often considering, what do I do? Should I get in the lifestyle? Should I not? Like, what am I interested in? I don't know what I want. So for a fly on the wall friend, I tell them, all my clients who are just getting started, just go to an event or one of these situations and be a fly on the wall. Just get to know people, talk to people, watch the dynamics and see where you feel like you'd be comfortable fitting. As a therapist, this is actually a type of exposure therapy where you're teaching people to put themselves in the situation but not get too far in. So like if you think of it like a pool, instead of jumping right into the deep end and drowning, you're like go to the pool and just like sit on the side of the pool and see what's going on and how people are swimming. See what kind of swimming you want to do. Do you want to be in the shallow end? Do you want to, I don't know, do laps? I don't know what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not here to judge you. But what I am here to do is give you some tips for how to figure out what you like and what you're comfortable with so that you don't end up getting hurt or hurting each other. So you're welcome to be fly on the wall friends for years. I do know people who have been fly on the wall friends for years where they just go and they figure they want to watch what's going on and they have lots of talks behind the scenes between the two of them. And then, of course, there's one category that's important for you to think about as well, which is you can go fuck off friends. They're not your friends. Actually, there are situations where people are not respecting your boundaries. And those are people who really can go fuck off. You're not my friend. If you set boundaries, so the reason I have these terms are to teach people that one, you're allowed to have boundaries. Two, you can move within those boundaries even in the same night. You can decide what's okay or not okay for you. But if you set boundaries with people and say, hey, I'm only interested in being Frenchy friends for tonight, and they are pushing and pushing and pushing you out of that boundary, that's a fuck off, you're not my friend situation. It's a red flag situation. And no, it is not okay for anyone to push you past your boundaries. It is not okay for people to just keep like hammering on you. Like if you have that person, get out of there and cut those people off because they are not good people in this world for you to be in relationship with. You have a right to your boundaries. So here are a few questions that people have asked me about these terms. Can you be more than one type of friend? Absolutely. The more the merrier. You can be a free-balling friend and you can not be a fucking friend. You can be a fucking friend and not feel comfortable with nudity. You can be I know fucking friends who don't French. Like there's people who are interested in the sexual piece, but like that's like their boundary of we don't kiss. So you can be any of the types of friends. Really, I just want you to use these as a way to talk about with your partner or even with a potential partner, because it's not always couples in these situations. Sometimes you're a single person, but I want to give you a language to talk to people about what you're comfortable with or not comfortable with. Does everyone in the LS use these terms? No. These are my terms. I'm encouraging you to use these terms because I think it will help you get more clarity about who you are, what you want, what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with. How does it help is the next question. And it actually helps in a lot of ways to get an idea of like, oh, I don't have to go all the way. You can go to an event and just be flirty, and that's the only thing that you're comfortable doing. Like, I've met a lot of people who thought that by going to one of these events, it meant they had to go all the way. They were going to have sex, and that if they didn't do that, then they weren't doing it right. No, when I'm working with clients and helping you figure out what makes sense for you, as a couple, if you're going as a team, I want you to get on the same page about what you're comfortable with and really honor those boundaries, because when you do that, you actually build trust in your relationship. But even if you're a single going into one of these situations, if you tell somebody, this is my boundary and this is what I'm comfortable with for today, then if they honor your boundaries, you're building trust with that person. And if they don't, guess what happens? The opposite. So there are many fun terms and many different ways to approach this lifestyle world and kink world. But ultimately, what I want you to hear out of this video is that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You get to choose, and your choice matters. And find a good group of people who deeply respect your values and boundaries, and make friends with those people, because that's what friends are for. Thank you all for joining me. You can see me at openbedroomdoors.com, and the show comes out again at the end of October 30th, Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. Thank you.